Hey guys, what's up? GreenMachineSam back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Bears versus the Commanders. And just like everybody else who is a Bears fan that has talked about this game, or, the Hail Mary, or the final drive, the fourth quarter, whatever it may be, I know they've spoken their mind. I want to just give you a breakdown of what I'm seeing and what I would have done differently, or just stupid shit that I'm seeing, right? We're just going to start off right away on the final drive, right? 2nd and 10, because the first play that the Commanders have is an incomplete pass. 2nd and 10, completion over the middle to Zach Ertz. Blackwell takes him down immediately. Something that you're kind of taught, even at a very low level of even high school and low-end college football, is that in those situations where you're trying to drain the clock, just wrap up the guy. Don't let him go out of bounds. If you have the choice, yes, tackle him down in bounds. But if it's something over the middle of the field, just wrap him up and hold on, and don't let him move, right? And just hold him up. That's all. Even when you punt the ball and you're trying to drain clock, you're told not to touch the ball. Just surround it to where if anybody does try to pick it up, you can tackle them, but waste as much time. So immediately, Josh Blackwell in that situation, I understand as a football player, sometimes it's just in your mind just to go take the dude down. So I'm not blaming him, but still, if you would have held him up for a second or two, it takes a second or two off the clock. It might end up not allowing them to run that speed out, or at least get as many yards on the speed out. Should have just wrapped him up or let him fall to the ground on his own and not touch him. It's going to drain 2 to 3 seconds off the clock at minimum, and then you'll be in a better situation. Like I said, take more time down. Trust me, Zach Ertz isn't going to run all the way to the end zone. He's not going to break a bunch of tackles. He was probably told that if he does get the ball over the middle, to go down relatively fast. If you hold on to him, like I said, it drains 2 more seconds on the play. That takes it from 6 down to 4. Even if you drain 1 more second, they may not even look to do the speed out or get as many yards on the speed out, just to make sure that they do have time to throw the Hail Mary. So now, of course, 1st and 10, 6 seconds at the 35-yard line. We play true prevent, everybody back, and they run a 13-yard speed out that took 4 seconds. And look, I'm not going to sit here and complain about the time clock on the broadcast changing from, I think it was 11 to 12. So it went from, they forgot to do the play clock on the screen, or something like that. So it went from 19 to 18 to 20, down to 11, up to 12. Then it went down to 6 because of the play. And then it went down to 5 because of the play. Then it went back up to 6. So I'm not going to complain about that. I understand that what the refs have is what the actual time is. But there's been a lot of questions about whether or not we should have run true prevent. This gets them to the 48-yard line. Makes it a much easier throw, just easily. Like I said, if you hold up Ertz after the catch for 1, maybe 2 seconds, get them to drain the clock just a little bit more. They can't run this play, or they can't run it as far. They might have to go straight to the Hail Mary, or even some type of pitchy woo-woo bullshit play. Something like the Miami Miracle. Odds are very high at this point that we should win. Eberflus tried to say this ultimately didn't matter. I think everybody and their mother knows that this fucking play mattered. I'm going to lay out all the details that I looked through the play and looked at it multiple times. So they got 13 yards closer with QB that was struggling to get air under his balls. If you were watching the game, especially in that fourth quarter after a couple hits and stuff like that, there's definitely times where he didn't put enough air underneath his balls, and they were kind of falling short of their receivers. As well as one play where I understand they ran hurry up, but he threw a ball over the middle. Somebody made a catch, and as they were going down to the ground, in the replay, you can clearly see the ball hit the ground, and Eberflus doesn't call a timeout, doesn't challenge it. If you call the timeout, you still have a chance to challenge it. He doesn't do any of that. He's it's so hit or miss if he challenges shit. And the people upstairs in the booth should be watching it immediately. I don't know how fast they get the replays up in the booth, but Jesus, they just weren't on their game. I know that drive I don't think ended up leading to anything major, but still, it's annoying that, the coaching staff isn't doing what they're supposed to. So yeah, QB not being able to get the air under his balls in the fourth quarter especially. He threw from the 35-yard line, barely made it to the end zone. So those yards did matter, you brain dead idiot. Like I said, I even looked where he threw the ball from, where they snapped the ball from. So he literally threw from where his line of scrimmage was. So if you didn't let this up, if you didn't let up this 13-yard speed out, he's going to have to throw from 25-yard line. That's a 75-yard throw instead. Or like I said, they're going to have to run some play where they, get guys out in space, throw the ball, catch it, and then just try to move up the field, pitches, reverses, everything like that. I just don't understand how you don't think those 13 yards mattered. Eberflus, you're a dumbass. He just didn't make any adjustments from what I saw. I can't believe how little adjustments he makes. Something that I liked seeing on the Sunday night game from Kyle Shanahan. I know there's been discussions about whether or not he's actually as good of a coach as people suggest because, the 49ers haven't had as much success as they're used to because, everybody's excuse used to be, oh, Kyle Shanahan, plug and play type style, next man up. And they haven't been as good, but still. What a good coach does, like Kyle Shanahan? He brings in a 6-0 lineman on some run plays so he can run play action or even straight dropbacks out of similar formations to give Purdy more time. Since he knows his offensive line isn't the greatest, he'll sometimes bring in a 6 offensive lineman on run plays, and then he's able to run play action out of the similar formations or the same formations even to hopefully give, your quarterback a little bit more time. Especially when a lot of teams are starting to figure out just to put 6 guys on the line and rush 5, rush 4 in different angles and stuff like that. He has his tight ends chipped to be able to, Kyle Shanahan has his tight ends to chip. I know we don't have a George Kittle who likes blocking, but still, he has his tight ends chip, makes the edges being forced into the tackles, not being able to really take that edge right away. He doesn't run some stupid shit with a backup center or guard. This is no disrespect to Doug Kramer, of course. I'm not going to harp on him. Caleb should have handled the ball better. Even Chase Daniels said, hey, when we ran this play with Akeem Hicks, I made sure to put that thing into his stomach. I did not let go of the ball until it was in his stomach, and he was going to take me with him, basically. So, Caleb could have handled the ball better, but I just still don't like that play call. I think somebody looked and, Roschon Johnson is like a monster down inside the 5-yard line. So, I just don't understand why we're even, doing that in a tight game where we're down. It just doesn't make any sense. I really don't like it, right? And then comes the Hail Mary. First off, we're going to go over personnel. No Austin Booker, no Montez Sweat, no Darrell Taylor, and no taller receiver in the back ready to jump. I know, when the Patriots put Gronk out there, the Miami Dolphins were able to get, that crazy miracle play. But if you ask Rome Odunze or even Cole Kmet, I think Cole Kmet's a little bit better of an athlete, just pure athleticism than Rob Gronk is. Gronk is still better tight end. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But Cole Kmet might have been a little bit better of an athlete. Rome Odunze's I think 6'3", Keenan Allen 6'2", Gerald Everett 6'3", Cole Kmet's 6'5", 6'5 and a half, 6'6", something around there. See if one of them would have wanted to, do something, or that's even something you can work on in practice. And then we're going to go to the personnel that was actually on the field. Jacob Martin, DeMarcus Walker, and TJ Edwards were on the field. I don't love this, right? I also do not love rushing 3, but we'll get to that in just a second. I don't understand Jacob Martin and DeMarcus Walker. DeMarcus Walker, in my opinion, is a run stuffer. He's a decent, edge at stuffing the run. I don't think he's the pass rush type of guy. Jacob Martin, I'm pretty sure in his first game back, why are we forcing this guy out onto the field? If Montez and Booker and Taylor were all tired or injured or whatever, fine, I understand that a little bit more, whatever, I'm willing to let that go. But it just doesn't make sense, because then you're watching the play, and first off, Jacob Martin gets held, right? He gets held, and he's standing there right in front of the ref, and he does the thing that you're told to do, even by refs, is hey, if you're getting held and you're trying to get away from somebody, throw up your arms, make it, act a little bit, which is always the stupidest thing I've thought, is I shouldn't have to sell the flag to you. You should just do your job and throw the fucking flag if you see somebody holding me. That's just my opinion, though. So Jacob Martin gets held on his double team. DeMarcus Walker kind of gets held. It's not as significant as the Jacob Martin one. But then Austin Eckler, either falls down or goes for DeMarcus Walker's legs while he's engaged with the tackle, which is technically supposed to be illegal. So another flag there. I understand you can nitpick and say that there's a flag on almost every fucking play. Trust me, I understand that. And then TJ Edwards, I don't know what the fuck he was doing. I know he was in a spy, But at some point, you got to step up and try to rush, especially if, you can see your guys getting manhandled a little bit. Step up, try to force some pressure. Jaden Daniels is not going to run fucking 60 yards for a touchdown. I'm sorry, he's not going to fucking do that. And then DeMarcus Walker just gives up halfway through the play. It's really fucking annoying to see it. When he gets through his double team, basically, and Jaden Daniels gets flushed to the right and then spins back left, he basically gives up. He's like almost jogging, it feels like. Like I said, Edwards is a spy, doesn't step up. He fake steps up and then backs off again. Like, what are you going to do? The ball's about to get launched over your head. Make a fucking play. I understand there's two dudes standing in front of you. Try to make a play. Just run up and try to jump. I know you're only like 6'1", 6'2", or something like that, but run up and jump. Just, do something. And instead, he basically just continues to be the spy, and then Jaden just launches it from the 35-yard line. I just don't understand it. When he finally settles and he's about to throw, you should see that and you should want to step up. Jacob Martin gets held and then falls over and is gassed. Pretty much it for him. Like I said, I would have liked to see Montez or Austin Booker or even Darrell Taylor in that situation. I think they're just better pure pass rushers. I would have liked to see at least two of them. Ask if Rome, Keenan, and Gerald or Cole might want to be on the field during this, or just, rep it. That's another very simple thing to look at. My plan, this is what I would have done, and this is something I've always been a big guy on, even in Madden and NCAA, and I know it's Madden and NCAA, so it doesn't play out the exact same, right? I understand that. But we saw this in the Texans game, not against us, but one of the Texans games came down to something, and they needed some pressure. So this is what I would do. I'd put Taylor in a spy. So Darrell Taylor, I'd put him in a spy on the left side. I'd put him at like a wide 7, right? And then I would have Austin Booker, Gervon Dexter, and Montez Sweat all playing on the right-hand side of our defense. So they'd be lined up over the left tackle, left guard, and center. Dexter would be basically head up on the center, but he's going to cross his face and try to push him towards the left guard, right? So he's going to be more lined up, I guess, on the center's right-hand shoulder. So he's going to want to try to cross face as quickly as possible and take his man directly towards the left guard, right? And doing this and overloading one side, the offensive line has to kind of shift. And this is where it's going to come into play a little bit, right? So I'd have Dex cross the center of the face from right shoulder to left shoulder. I'd have Sweat on the outside edge going up against the left tackle. And then I'd have Austin Booker, who I think is a little not as athletic as Montez Sweat, in between the guard and tackle. So on the guard's shoulder, basically. Just try to overload one side, try to force pressure. We saw it with the Texans against, I don't remember who, but it did work out pretty well. Tremaine Edmonds and Josh Blackwell should be playing the underneath protect, tip to the shallow. Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Jones, and Jalen Johnson should be playing the ball. I think those three are the best play ball guys. And then Kevin Byard and Elijah Hicks should be on the back. I understand some of the guys didn't do their job like they were supposed to, like Eberflus said. But still, I just don't understand why you probably one of your better ball hawk guys and Jalen Johnson not playing the ball, playing the tip to the shallow man. I just don't understand that. One small change you could have if you think your secondary is good / elite, like ours should be, is you send 5. Force him to get rid of the ball, right? Especially, and look, and if you want to say, well, they didn't know Austin Eckler was going to stay in and they were going to have 6, that's perfectly fine. You tell Darrell Taylor, basically, to play the spy, but if Austin Eckler goes out on a pattern, you run with him, right? So I would overload the right still, so over the left tackle, left guard, and center. Dex, Book, and Sweat would still be on the same priorities, but I'd bring in a guy like Hardy, or I'd bring in a guy like Jacob Martin, and this guy would have a specific role. He would start behind Dexter, right? He would start kind of over the left guard more than anything, and then as Jaden Daniels would get set into his cadence and get ready to go, he would slowly move over into the gap in between the center and the left guard, right? So he'd start from standing up over basically the right guard, Then once Jaden Daniels would start his cadence, he would slowly move over to the other side, standing in between the guard and center gap. And this would put 4 guys on one side, basically. And if Dex does his job and crosses face with center, it's going to be hard for that right guard to be able to reach him. And ultimately, it should open up some pretty decent rush lanes. Now, Darrell Taylor on the left side, his spy would be still similar. This was what I would want him to do. I would want him to take 2 hard steps towards that right tackle. And if that right tackle comes out to, catch him, back off, play the spy right away, right? And then as soon as you see Jaden Daniels either roll out or move outside the pocket or step up or do anything, that's when you rush, right? Like I said, wait until Jaden Daniels starts moving and then you go after him, right? That's kind of what I wanted TJ Edwards to do. Or even if the offensive line oversets, right? The right guard oversets, even Austin Eckler goes to the other side, and then you have a one-on-one with that tackle. Then you can start rushing too, right? Just get these edge rushers into a very favorable situation, right? You have 4 guys going against one side. Somebody's going to win their fucking matchup. Now, don't get me wrong, Tyreek Stevenson definitely should have played this a little bit better. Shouldn't have been taunting fans, and then he's the one that ultimately tipped the ball the most, in my opinion. But the coaching staff and the O-line are the more important problems about this game. The O-line couldn't hold up, plain and simple, and the coaching staff just kept making lousy decision after lousy fucking decision for us. They ultimately cost us the game, and I don't see them lasting much longer. Now we're going to talk about everything else in this game. I don't think the coaching staff has what it takes to win big games. I really don't. I don't like Eberflus. He's a good D coordinator, and we've seen this a lot recently in years, is good D coordinators getting head coaching jobs, proving that they can't be head coaches, going back down to defensive coordinators and becoming very good defensive coordinators. We've seen it with Vic Fangio and Brian Flores. We're going to probably see it with Robert Saleh soon. We're going to see it with all these different guys. I think we'll see it again here shortly. Shane Waldron regressed again. He went back to his old playbook. I don't know what happened, why he was going back to it. It didn't work in the first couple weeks. It's not working now. Go back to what you were running just a couple weeks ago. This O-line still can't pick up pressure. Like I said, line up 6, send 5 or 4 from different angles. If you line up 6, I'm pretty sure this offensive line just can't pick it up. I mean, Shade Waldron's not doing them any favors by, of course, chipping with tight ends or anything, but this offensive line cannot pick up pressure. They just can't. Caleb needs to play a little bit quicker and play better in the quick game. I understand when Shade Waldron's not giving you the best routes in the quick game. I know it's hard to hit those, so it's not ultimately Caleb Williams' fault. DeAndre Swift is good. Holy shit, he's fucking playing out of his mind. I really like DeAndre Swift. He's definitely proving his worth. It definitely seems like through social media and some of the quotes that we're getting from some of the players since the game has been over is that he is losing the locker room, right? Players questioning the call, questioning no timeout before the Hail Mary, questioning that whole drive, questioning what's going on. Caleb Williams coming out and basically quoting, being like, these coaches are supposed to be the leaders of this team, are supposed to coach us. They're supposed to be the leaders. We ultimately have to hold ourselves accountable, but everybody, including the coaches, do. I don't remember the exact quote, but still. Eberflus, for anybody wondering, isn't going to get fired until the offseason if he does get fired at all. Ryan Poles isn't going to do it, I don't think. And then, of course, I don't think the McCaskies would let that happen either. So even if Eberflus the only way he would get fired, even remotely inside the season, is if we, lost the next 6 games, then I could see them firing him. But that's probably won't happen. Poles shouldn't make any big splashes during this trade deadline. I just don't see it happening right now. I don't think we're in the position to go do anything unless there's an edge rusher that can truly change the game. And that's, of course, if you don't believe in Austin Booker progressing. And then I don't think any teams are going to trade any O-lineman worth their weight in gold. There was a couple guys I liked, but I don't think they'll end up making trades, especially if the team that's trading them has a quarterback that they want to protect. You just don't see offensive linemen move a whole ton that are good or quality, or that they don't have some young, anytime there seems like there is an offensive lineman traded, there's normally a young guy behind them waiting in line to get their chance to start or play and see what they have in that young O-lineman. Yeah, I just don't understand why this game played out the way it did. Well, I know why it did. The coaching staff sucks. The O-line can't pick up pressure. You know, I'll say this, and I think there are reasonable Bears and Commanders fans on both sides that will say this. We both got our guy. Why does everybody need to make it Caleb versus Jaden? We both got our guy. I promise you, if Caleb went to Washington and Jaden came to us, they probably wouldn't be playing as well. Yes, Caleb is having not as good of a year as Jaden Daniels, but it's not even 10 games into their rookie season. People need to calm the fuck down about these rookie quarterbacks. And just like Anthony Richardson, he's 10 games into his fucking career, and people are already freaking out. Like, yes, he took himself out of the game. So fucking what? I would get tired of being told to either run basically power football as a quarterback or getting hit behind the line of scrimmage. You know, your team not helping you out. I would understand that, right? I just don't understand why it has to be Jaden versus fucking Caleb, right? I think reasonable Commander fans and reasonable Bears fans can sit down and say, we both got our guy. We both got our guy. We both made out like bandits in this draft. We both got our guy. We don't have to worry about it anymore. Or at least we don't hopefully have to worry about it. But whatever. Everybody wants to pit the Commanders and the Bears against each other because the Bears might have passed up on another quarterback. And, you know, everybody wants to use hindsight. Like, do we not remember that before the draft, that weeks leading up to the draft, there was actual consideration that Drake May should go number 2? Do we not remember that? And that the Patriots should take fucking J.J. McCarthy 3? Like, let's not act like it was a clear-cut decision that Jaden Daniels was the number 2 quarterback for months on end. Like, oh, number picks 1 and 2 are definitely solidified. No. Before the Commanders traded Sam Howell, there was talk that the Commanders could trade out of that pick and pick up more draft assets. Like, let's not fucking pretend like Jaden Daniels was the number 2 guaranteed overall pick. Like, it was like, oh, Caleb's definitely the best, but Jaden Daniels is right there. Let's stop fucking pitting these rookie quarterbacks against each other. Let's let them play a couple seasons, and then let's start making our judgments. You know, I just don't understand it. I really don't. I don't understand pitting these two guys against each other and being like, well, the Bears got it wrong because Caleb Williams, offensive coordinator and O-line, isn't fucking protecting him, but let's just say that he's playing really bad right now. Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely stuff Caleb needs to fix, but it's rookie mistakes. I just don't understand why we're so adamant on being like, oh, he's a bust after 3 games. Oh, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. I just don't understand it. It makes no sense to me. I'm tired of the, you know, and I know a lot of it's coming from these social media platforms or these social media people that are trying to push their shit, being like, you know, trying to get clicks, trying to get views, trying to get that shit, but it's annoying. It really is. I know there's Commanders fans out there. I even saw some stuff on Twitter from some Commanders fans that were just like, the Bears got their guy too. Let's not act like Jaden Daniels played a great game. Let's not act like Caleb Williams hasn't had good games this season. Like, I don't know. Just my opinion, I guess. If you guys did enjoy this content or the content here on my channel, I would appreciate if you guys do stick around and subscribe. I'll be back with more videos like this, but with that being said, I'm out. Peace.